welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about Search Out Science, written by Lambros Atalithes, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, and Stuart Billingsley, and is also directed by Stuart Billingsley. This is actually a crossover episode from the show Search Out Science, a kids science contest show where they get it's like a fictional quiz challenges and stuff. This aired a year after the cancellation. It aired in November of 1990. Now, what I found really interesting is that I couldn't find any other detail about this show apart from this one Doctor Who themed episode. I mean, just even watching this one episode, you never meet any other characters apart from this really strange guy called Cedric, which I doubt was a main character in the show. But apart from that, it's really in tune to Doctor Who, and our main cast, especially Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred, have a lot to do in the show, despite it not really having a plot. The majority of the story, shall we say, it's basically the Doctor on this space surfboard in space, asking the audience's questions, and we get help from Ace and Cedric and K9. K9's in this. Yes, I bet you didn't know he started travelling with the 7th Doctor for a while. There's no actual explanation on how he's there. He just appears, and to see the 7th Doctor and Ace interact with K9 is very bizarre, but it surprisingly works. Their era of the show with a lot more child-friendly elements really fits well with the more silly ridiculousness of the campiness of the 7th Doctor, shall I say. This era of the show works well with a roboting dog that does mathematical skills. And what's really cool, or at least I personally find it really cool, there's one part in which it's actually K9's turn to answer the Doctor's question. And the Doctor's asking, what is, what's the word? White, yellow, red, orange, and brown. And K9's trying to work out what's going on, what the answer is. With help, he goes around this science expo place and he finds Smarties on the floor, and he kind of represents each part of a lifespan of a star, to a newborn star to just about to start supernova, and that's basically the answer to the question. But what's really fun about this particular story, about this particular scene, it has the K9 and Company theme song playing in the background. Yes, Ian Levine's K9 and Company theme. You know, the... So it kind of gives the feeling that this is a crossover with a K9 show as well, which is just a lot of fun and a lot of joy. At one point, K9 needs to be saved by the Doctor, and the Doctor actually takes him in the TARDIS. Now, sadly, during this time, the interior of the TARDIS was actually in huge disarray, and so they couldn't actually film anything. But to hear Sylvester McCoy with John Leeson, who voiced K9s, their voice working off each other, it's so bizarre. But I think a lot of people need to hear about this. It's a very strange story. Like I said, it's not really focused on a narrative. It's mainly the Doctor turns to the camera and is like, okay, here's the first question. What shape is the planet Earth? What shape is the planet Earth? To which our three main cast has to figure out the answers. Like I said, there are actually three main cast members. K9, which we talked about a lot. But let's talk about Ace. Ace doesn't get a lot to do in terms of, apart from just really talking to the audience about science and stuff. But I find it a really interesting dynamic that this TARDIS crew was picked to represent Doctor Who on this quiz show, because, as some of you might know, during the later era of the Seventh Doctor, there was more hints and darker natures of the Seventh Doctor, which kind of implied that he's kind of manipulating Ace. He's basically training her up for a specific purpose, which we don't really know. The Doctor's kind of like pushing her to try and get to her full potential. So to have her play this role of answering the questions with the audience against the questions by the Doctor is a very fitting choice for this dynamic. And Sophie Aldred's charm and her lovable personality really come off in this story, and I really like some of the small little moments she has. One of my favourite moments, in fact, is again the scene in which K9 is trying to work out the Doctor's question about the colours, and Ace is watching this on a TV screen, on a small little TV screen, and she's cheering K9 on as if it's like a football game. It's like, come on, K9, you can do it, go on, yes, answer the questions. And she starts talking so much and starts cheering him up so much, but K9 can't actually focus, and he actually tells them to, like, please be quiet, I'm trying to focus. But she doesn't listen, and she says constantly, like, come on, K9, you can do it, yeah! That is Ace to a T. I love that. I absolutely love that. So they're the main two, the ones that are familiar to the Doctor Who fan base. But there's one more character. A character who originated in this Search Out Space special. This is Cedric, an alien that knows very little about the culture and society of humans, and I'm making it sound much more mysterious than he is. He's played up way up as he is a children's entertainer. He's a children's presenter, and he's got this silly, I don't know what the shape of this world is. Can you help me? Something I noticed during this viewing. Sometimes he has given a robotic kind of sound effect to his voice, and other times he doesn't. I have no idea why. As for his role in the story, basically he's the idiot of the crew. He's the one who gets the answers wrong for the most part. And he's always the first one to answer the questions, only to get wrong, and then Ace, K9, or the Doctor has to give him clues or correct him. And yeah, what I think is incredibly funny about this character is his specific role to the story. Watching it, it does kind of feel like he's the third companion in this adventure. It does kind of give the impression that him, Ace, and the Doctor are somewhat close enough that they have had a few travels along the way, or at the very least he's friendly with the crew. However, if you go looking onto the TARDIS wiki, the official Wikipedia page for Doctor Who, it states that he's actually the main antagonist, the main villain of the story. Which, I don't know how that works. It's very strange like that. But yeah, there's no real resolution. There's just the Doctor. It's just a quiz, basically. It's just a quiz of the Doctor giving off a quiz to Ace, K9, and Cedric. And there's not really much to talk about apart from that. Personally, I think it's quite enjoyable. It's a very nice little tongue-in-cheek kid adventure. Very campy, very silly, very just slightly enjoyable. But it's nothing really worth noting about. Like if you haven't watched this one, you're not missing much. But it is nice to see some more content with this group of characters, with the Doctor and Ace, and now with K9. And it's also nice to see them basically in the 90s as they would have looked like in the 90s if Doctor Who continued on in the 90s. But it wasn't meant to be. Again, I can't find any information about this Search Out Science program. It seems like literally you go on the internet, you go on YouTube, Daily Motion, you could try and look on Wikipedia. The only information I can find about this show is this one episode with the Doctor Who connection. And I can't find anything else about the rest of the show. It's really strange, it's really bizarre. But there you go, I just wanted to talk about it and just see what, if it'd be interested to you. So join me next time where we catch up with what a few of the Doctor's friends are up to. As we say hello again to Victoria, Sarah Jane, Brigadier, and we get introduced to the Brigadier's daughter. So I'll see you next time for Downtime. Join me next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-da!